So these were my first couple of flights with my Mavic Air 2, and in many regards this drone really surprised me. So in today's video I'm going to share my first couple of impressions, some things that I'm going to focus on in the future, and some things that I'm not too happy about. Keep in mind these are just my initial impressions, and many of them of course are subject of change or subject to change. How is it the right way to say that? Anyway, you get the point. I might change my feelings about this drone later down the line, but for now, there are some things which I want to share with you, the first things that I noticed after flying this drone for a full day. Let's just start with how this thing looks, the overall design, the size, and how much it looks like the Mavic 2 Pro, because when you put them side by side, they are pretty similar, which is not a bad thing, but you know, the design of the original Mavic Air was something very distinctive, very unique, and also it was extremely portable. This one is not as portable as the original Mavic Air, unfortunately, but I still like the look of it, and honestly I don't really care how the drone looks like as long as it's portable, as long as it works well, it flies well, and as long as it doesn't make too much noise. Speaking of noise, these low noise propellers are great. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference compared to the Mavic Mini, for example. It was great to fly this drone. It was not too noisy, it was not too loud, even when it was close to me. Now, one thing I have to say about this intro that you saw in the beginning of today's video is that it was all shot in automatic settings. I do have ND filters. I actually have two packages with different filters from Freewell and the original ones from DJI. But I decided to give this drone a chance, film everything in auto and see how the camera is going to adapt to the new lighting. Because sometimes the camera changes are quite drastic, very aggressive, and I don't like that. So I wanted to see if this drone will have the same issue, and I have to say it was smooth. It was great. It didn't change the shutter speed and the ISO too drastically, too aggressively, and it almost doesn't feel like I'm shooting in auto. So that's a great thing, and of course I will use my ND filters a lot from now on in manual camera settings, but I just wanted to see how the drone films in automatic. So I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. It was looking good, and I enjoyed how the footage looked like. Speaking about the footage, I've shot everything in today's video in D-Cinelike color profile. I will not bother using normal color profile because I just don't like normal. I like D-Cinelike, and it's my favorite color profile to color grade. So on the screen right now you can see how I graded this footage that you saw with the Mavic Air 2. I have my own LUT, which you're welcome to check out below in the description. But D-Cinelike works great on this drone. I really enjoyed how the footage turned out, and especially after grading it, I really like it, except that I have a little issue with how the shadows are looking. Sometimes they're a bit too dark, but that was the same case for the original Mavic Air. So I had the same issue back then with the original Mavic Air. But I see that generally the D-Cinelike color profile is great for keeping the dynamic range, especially in this shot right here. It just preserved all the details, both in the highlights and in the shadows. Look at the sky, how clear it looks, how well exposed it looks, and also that goes the same for the ground. So I'm really happy with this D-Cinelike. Like I said, it's my favorite color profile to color grade, so I'm definitely going to use it every single time. Now, taking photos with this drone is a lot of fun, especially trying out the new 48 megapixel photos. but I'm not too sure how much I'm going to use it, to be honest. It is nice to have this option of taking these huge photos, but keep in mind every single photo is about 100 megabytes. And the original ones, the 12 megapixel photos, are 25 I would believe, or 29, something like that, but drastically smaller. And the difference is not too visible. Of course you can zoom in a lot more, but how often do you really zoom in on your photos? Maybe if you're making manual panoramas or something like that, this would be useful, but for everyday shots or shots that you are planning to upload on Instagram, for example, I don't see the 48 megapixel appeal too much to me. Also, it makes the drone a lot slower. Taking these photos, it takes a lot more time to process the photo and save it to your camera roll. But of course, I am going to go a lot more in depth and make a full video about the camera, and especially the photos of the Mavic Air 2 and how much difference there is between the 48 megapixels and the 12 megapixels. But for now, I noticed that the 48 megapixels are just a bit more noisy compared to the original 12 megapixel photos. But like I said, I have to investigate that a lot more and a lot more in depth. Yeah, I'll make that in a separate video. Now, another thing which I was pleasantly surprised by is this remote controller. From photos, it looked like it's going to be a huge remote controller, and it was something that I just didn't like the look of. But now, after keeping it, after holding it in my hands, I have to say it's a lot smaller than I expected. It's a lot more comfortable to hold, and I love the position of the phone, the fact that you put the phone on top. So your device can be attached on the top of the remote instead of the bottom like we had with all of the previous Mavic drones. And this is a great change. I think it's a small change, but it makes a massive difference. I noticed I'm actually a lot smoother when I'm flying. Maybe this contributed as well. But another thing is that this remote in general feels super smooth. The controls, the sticks, the way they are moving, also the gimbal wheel, it's all extremely smooth. And I noticed something weird, the fact that you cannot even change your gimbal settings in the DJI Fly application. You cannot control how quickly the gimbal is going to move up and down, set your EXP and sensitivity and stuff like that. And at first I thought that's a bug, or that's something that will be added later down the line, and it could be, of course. But after flying for a full day with the Mavic Air 2, I have to say I don't really need any changes to how the remote works. It is extremely smooth, and I've never had this happen to me before. I don't need to configure anything about this drone. It just flies very, very smoothly straight out of the box, which is crazy. I mean, I just didn't expect it. I didn't even try flying in tripod mode. I only flew in normal mode, and I tried sport mode as well. But normal mode was extremely smooth. I didn't even feel like I need to use tripod mode or any slowed down mode that we have on other DJI drones. It's just smooth, it flies well, and I was extremely positively surprised by this fact. So very good points there. I like how the antennas are integrated in the remote controller. I'm not too sure about the range though, but we'll test that of course in a future video. And I like how everything tucks away neatly, and it's just one small package. Everything is put together nicely here. And I just don't like that we have one customizable button instead of two, but those are small things to complain about. Generally, I love the feeling of this remote controller, and I have to take my words back when I first said that it's an extremely ugly controller. I take my words back. Apologies DJI, apologies to everyone who was mad for me saying it. I take my words back, and I think it's a great controller. After being able to hold it in my hands, I really like the feeling of it. Now, one more thing is the battery life. I enjoyed this long battery life. It's advertised as 34 minutes battery life. I think I managed to get about 28 or 30. And one thing I noticed is that you cannot set your own low battery warning to your taste and set it to maybe 30% or 35% if you want to, or 15%. It's default setting that cannot be changed. And I don't really like that. I like to have choice for these things, but I guess these are small things to complain about, and I guess now that this drone actually uses the DJI Fly application and not the Go 4 application, it is more limited. It doesn't have that many options. It doesn't give you so much control, which makes sense because it's another app, but hopefully DJI will add some of these settings back because they are just settings that we need to have as consumers. And finally, I want to talk about hyperlapses, and I am going to go a lot more in depth. Like I said, with the camera, I'm going to focus on hyperlapses for a full video with the Mavic Air 2. But I took a hyperlapse in 8K, and it was not too smooth. It was also not opening on in my editing software, so there is something wrong with how hyperlapses are encoded, I guess, because it opens on some video players. I can see it well, but when it comes to editing this hyperlapse, it's not opening in Final Cut Pro 10. So there are things that I want to clear out before I get a lot more in depth into hyperlapses, yeah, I have some things to say about hyperlapses, but I will save it for another video, and I'll also make a nice comparison with the Mavic 2 Pro and how the hyperlapses look on that drone, because I think they're quite different. So these are pretty much my first couple of impressions of the Mavic Air 2. I'm super excited to go a lot more in depth and just dive deep into all of these new features and new things that I haven't tested properly yet and share the whole experience with you guys. But for the most part, my first impressions were very positive, and I'm excited about this drone, and I'm excited to bring you all the content that you guys have been asking for. Speaking about things that you guys have been asking for, I have a little announcement, and I purposely left it for the ending of the video. So if you're still watching, I want to thank you for that. And the announcement is that I just launched my brand new website. This website combines all the things that I've been working for the past couple of months and things that you guys have been asking for, which is mostly presets, LUTs, some clothing and accessories, and I'm bringing it all together for you guys in this brand new website called supremacyshop.com. Feel free to browse it, check it out, and see whether you're going to like something or not. And if you do, I have a special discount code for everyone who wants to purchase anything in the first 48 hours as a little token of appreciation. Use the code EARLYBIRD to get 20% off everything on the website. And this is just my little way of saying thank you for all of your support, for making me work extra hard on these presets and LUTs. But I'm so proud of them, and I cannot wait to see you use them. Please tag me on Instagram if you use any of these presets or LUTs, and let me know what you think about them, because I just want to hear back from you guys. I've been working so hard on every little product that you see on this website. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button as well, and be prepared for all of the Mavic Air 2 madness that's coming very soon to the channel. I cannot wait to produce all the videos which I have in mind. Thank you for watching. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.